Hello, and welcome to the Consider Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Eric King, and along with my co host, Mino Pachan, we're here to talk about all things mental health. Let's get into it.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Consider Your Mind podcast, episode number 32.
32, like Magic Johnson out here. Or the first Shaq when he was with the Magic. Shaq first came out. He was 32, so.
Yeah. So last week we had an episode discussing, what did we talk about last week? I'm having a brain fart right now.
We discussed rolling with the punches, man. Because again, it was different. Yeah. It was a different type of title. It wasn't, we were talking about ambiguity, tolerance, and uncertainty, tolerance, and stuff like that. But we just titled it something different, rolling with the punches. So check that out if you haven't. Episode 31.
Yep. And today, Eric actually brought up this idea to speak about body dysmorphia. Very interesting topic, I think. Affects both boys and girls. Don't matter.
Men and women alike.
Yep. So go ahead and tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, man. Body. Yeah, for sure. And it kind of came about because, again, thinking of things that we think just taken for granted, like it's so common. Oh, I got a little OCD. Oh, I got a little. This is my anxiety kicking in. But what are we really saying? And body dysmorphia is kind of a media word that we hear. But the actual clinical term for the diagnosis is body dysmorphic disorder. And so, I think it's kind of important to start off by saying, body dysmorphia is kind of the watered down, what they, talk about just, regular body image issues. But in terms of body dysmorphic disorder, like with every other, disorder we've covered, these can be debilitating things. It's not just about, looking good. It's literally obsessing over a characteristic or something about yourself or a look so that you can't function normally. And it got me kind of thinking about it because, again, we all have insecurities. Everybody has insecurities bodily. I know for myself, one of my biggest insecurities, is my chest. I've had this image in my head, the statue of David and, all these bodybuilders and stuff. And I look at their chest, it's like perfectly square. It's always like this square, it's like right down the middle, boom, and then to the side straight. And my chest was never like shaped like that. It was shaped more like triangle, It didn't just go straight across like that. And so it may be something, again, looking straight on, looking like it'd be in good shape and everything like that. Chest could be okay to everybody else. But because in my head, it doesn't look like that square that I've seen, I never think I'm in great shape. I always feel like I look chubby, I didn't have the great genes to just have a six pack automatically. So since I've never really, had those defined six packs, I never felt like I've had abs or nothing. I never had this image in my head of me being in shape, even though I was running track, playing football. I was not a big dude, but in my mind, I was never, that image. People who have body dysmorphia, dysmorphic disorder, it's a condition that they can't stop thinking about one or more perceived defects or flaws in their appearance. So instead of just being able to let it go, see your mole in the mirror, see this pimple, see this, that, or the third, imagine you walking in, every time you look in the mirror, that pimple looks like it's getting bigger and bigger, Instead of, looking at everything else that's going on in your appearance, the way you look, and all right, presented with all this other stuff, you're focusing on this one thing. And then what that causes is, for you to be kind of embarrassed or ashamed and be anxious about it. So it can affect your social life. So one example of this is when I was doing a little research, I'll put the link down below. Good Morning America had a little, clip on it. And one of the ladies who was, talking about being diagnosed she said she lost a whole semester in college because she stayed in the house for a month. She anytime she had any type of acne, she was afraid to be seen, afraid to look at herself. And so it literally cost her, academically. Like I said, these are disorders that are, handicapping people in their social life, in their professional life. If you have this perceived image of yourself or this flaw that you don't want to be seen, people can take medical leaves, simply because they don't want to be seen.
I definitely understand that when you mentioned about the insecurities about the chest area. For me, that's the same thing for me too, because I was always a bigger guy. So as big men, that the chest area will look like man boobs. And
Yeah, everybody's afraid of that, you know.
and especially if you were like a more athletic big guy like myself, you
Mm-hmm.
see all the other quote unquote athletic people, and you're like, man, I work out just as much, I'm just as active. Why isn't my body like a rock? Why is it,
Mm-hmm.
like, why is it not shaped? How come my chest isn't like that? And I always felt like, for me, I always felt like I had man boobs, no matter how much I worked out.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
never
that
looked,
feeling. Yeah.
yeah, it never looked like pecs. It just looked like I have fat chest,
Mm-hmm.
and it always made me like I never wanted to wear tight shirts for the longest
Mm-hmm.
time, and because it would show my chest area. And another thing about it is that for some reason I'm always nipping, and I hated that. And my nipples would always show through the shirt, whether it's a sweater or whatever. You would be able to see it. And oh, you cold? No, it's like no, it'd be
Yeah,
hot as
and
hell.
again, some people just
And
are shaped different.
and yeah,
Everybody's
yeah,
yeah.
and it's just out. And that's why, even as a kid, I would always grab my chest area of my shirt and pull my shirt forward. I'll
Mm-hmm.
stand there and just do that for no reason, for just nonstop.
Mm.
And then that's where my slouching of my shoulders came into play, because I wanted to cover it up somehow. So, and even when I started working out and I started to get a little bit of a chest shape, my posture started getting better. My shirts were fitting better. I still saw the chest area as a fat
Mm-hmm.
chest and just a non-muscular guy. So it was
Mm-hmm.
just weird, because I would see that it would make me work out harder, but people would be like, "Oh, you changed a lot, la da da," but I didn't see it. I
Yep,
still
you
saw the
can't see
same
it.
guy. I still saw the
Mm-hmm.
same chubby dude.
Yep.
Mind you, guys, the biggest I got was 265 pounds, and
Big
I'm
man.
only 5'9". You know, and then once I
Yeah.
started working out, I got down to 200. I was good. I was
Oh
trying to
yeah,
be the
he was in
rock.
shape. Yeah, yeah. The pebble. He was the pebble at the time.
Yeah. And then, but even though I got down to that, you can feel the accomplishments. You feel good, because I went from not being able to do a pull up to doing full sets of 10. And
Mm-hmm.
it was like, man, you want to see the progress. But the physical part of it, when I looked in the mirror, even though I felt strong and knew it, I still saw my chest as like nothing's changing.
Mm-hmm.
Still saw that big guy.
Yeah, still
Yeah,
see
it's
that.
weird.
Yeah, exactly, man. And so I know there's a lot of people out there who probably nodding their head. Y'all can relate to this in whatever it is, whatever area. And because it's more common than you think, one in 50 people in the United States, suffers from BDD, and that's approximately like that's 5 to 10 million people out there who are suffer with it. But it's really underdiagnosed and it's not seen a lot of times because it gets misconstrued and kind of stigmatized as you're being vain.
Mhm.
You're just being self-conscious. You're being vain. You're thinking, you're always thinking about your looks. Because one of the things that person will do, somebody suffering with body dysmorphic disorder, they'll be asking people all the time, how do I look? Do I look okay?
Mhm.
To obsessive points. Like I said, this can, you know, harm them socially.
Do these jeans make me look fat?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. To extremists, exactly,
I
exactly.
love you. I love you, ladies. Don't hate me.
Exactly. But it's that person, like, again, when we're talking about this, it's a person has a defect or undesirable part of their body, most of the time it's facially, but a part of their body that others don't see, but that person, with it sees it as awful, unacceptable, and it prevents them from functioning in their day-to-day life, you know. And so that's, when you're having an obsessive thought, when you're constantly thinking about the way you look or hiding this feature or covering this up or avoiding this, you know, that's debilitating. And it can cause you not to, again, want to, be seen, not want to go out instead of, wearing something that makes you look different or covers up a flaw. Come on, man. We all put our best foot forward. All right, this makes my, this look like that. Oh, this is good for my arms. All right, I'm going to, accentuate my good parts. A person who's really suffering with BDD, they just don't go.
Mhm.
It would be debilitating. They don't even want to, interact. And so, it's different from just having normal body concerns. And actually on the OCD spectrum, I found that out. So, we did a episode on OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. It's on that spectrum because, again, there's this obsessiveness with it. There's a compulsiveness to it that, they constantly, again, check in the mirror, constantly sizing themselves up against others in the room in the way that they look or compared to other people, you know. And, it can feel very minimized. Again, people who are suffering from this, it's underdiagnosed. People don't necessarily, think to even get it diagnosed because they think, everyone, has a little OCD. Oh, everybody's a little self-conscious. Oh, well, body dysmorphia. Well, everybody has a little something about them. But for those people who, it's impairing, perhaps their careers and things like that, ways to diagnose it, they're getting better at diagnosing it. And one of the cooler things I found, like one of the ways that they do it is an eye tracker test. Scientists, basically use an eye tracker to, put images in front of your face. They flash images or flash faces, literally, of people, and they tell you, okay, we want you to focus on these people's expressions. What are they trying to convey? Are they angry? Are they sad? Are they mood? Just normal things we do. We look at people's faces. What do we do? Cognitively normal people do are looking to see what type of mood they're in. You're picking up these cues. And so you would look at, a person who was functioning normally, without BDD. They would look, at the person's eyes, at the people's eyes, even themselves, even if they show pictures of themselves. They look at the eyes right across, and then it goes right down to the nose and the mouth area, eyes and mouth.
Working way down.
Yep, exactly. And that's normal because that's the most expressive parts. We can pick up the most about how a person's feeling, by their eyes and their mouth. Now, a person, they brought in a person, who hadn't been diagnosed, but suspects she had it. And so when they showed her the pictures, just like with other people with BDD, you see they don't have that triangle pattern, that their eyes don't track like that. Their eyes will be basically really avoiding the eyes, avoiding the mouth, avoiding these things. They're not looking really at that person, even with themselves, just like they see themselves in the mirror. They don't look at their whole face. They're not looking at their whole body. They're looking at that part that they obsess over. So they literally are looking at faces. They're looking at the world and differently, you know. So I thought that was really, really interesting,
That is interesting because
That was cool.
me personally, normally I would look at the eyes, but for me, it's like even when I speak to somebody, I probably make eye contact 2% of the time. I don't feel comfortable looking at someone in the eyes like that, to talking. Like, I don't know if you noticed too, even if I talk amongst my friends, I barely look at them. I'm just staring off into space. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know why that is, but that's interesting that you brought that up because when I look in the mirror, obviously, the only time I look in the mirror is when I'm checking for pimples or like anyone person would.
Yeah.
But I don't really look at myself. You know what I mean? And when I look at myself, that's when I start thinking, oh, why is my nose like crooked? Why is like stuff like that? So I just avoid.
One of the signs is a strong belief that you have a defect in your appearance that makes you ugly or deformed. So it's not like you're looking at this thing because it makes you distinguish. You're liking it. No, it's a belief. Whatever it is unacceptable. It's bad. It's ugly. To the point where people again have surgeries, to correct it. One of the most common ones, of course, is like the nose. People unhappy with their nose, the way their nose look, nose jobs. Rhinoplasties, I guess the technical term. So it's but these things can be triggered, sometimes by trauma. There's no special formula for somebody with BDD. There are genetic predispositions for people who are, more, visually acute. They have more active visual systems. So they're just maybe notice things a little bit more details, more visually, aware than other people. And then maybe that gets triggered, by a trauma, so maybe, and again, the Good Morning America clip I was watching, the lady said when she was younger, kids made fun of her because her hair was curly. We just pick on her, kids being mean. But, that kind of messed with her a little bit, and that manifested into, when she started getting older and getting acne to the point, again, now she's staying in the house for a month, missing college stuff. So again, it kind of gets triggered by traumas, as we, talked about with other things. It's never just the genetics. It's never just the predisposition. There's something in the environment that, stimulates or activates that. And a lot of times, and again, in this very visual age we're in this visualized world, we know the effect that, Barbie dolls and stuff can have on girls and their body image. and what's acceptable to look at. Well, action figures and wrestling dolls and stuff, all this stuff that we have as guys too, it gets in our head as well. And for certain people, it can have a really deleterious effect. you know Another symptom, engaging in behaviors aimed at fixing or hiding the perceived flaw, um, that are difficult to resist or control. So such as frequency of checking mirrors, grooming, skin picking, things you just obsess over and never let go. Um, and then this belief that others take special notice of your appearance in a negative way, like people. It makes you insecure. You're in public and you think that people are noticing this thing about you.
Mm.
That they're looking at it just as hard as you are and making fun of you, perhaps.
And
You
when
can
in
imagine.
actuality, they don't really care.
Yeah, they don't even care. Even if they notice, they're not like, okay, it's a flaw. Like, and they got
And
flaws
if
too.
they do, and they're gonna judge you for that,
hmm
they're just
hmm
jerks.
Yeah, of course, exactly. Because certain things can't be helped, man. Um, using excessive makeup, things like that to just hide certain and to the point where you're spending hours and hours a day, over this. One of the things that I sent you a clip of it, and I'll put it in the description below. I was watching a TED talk from a guy down in Australia, the Down Under. Um, so this guy named Scott Griffith, and he spoke about, he's a clinician, works with people with eating disorders, and he was working. The title of it was muscular dysmorphia. So
Mm.
muscle dysmorphia, the male eating disorder. Because when we think of eating disorders, we think of women, anorexia nervosa, pressure to be skinny, all that. But again, on the other side of it, just like men can be anorexics, uh, you know, women can also be, have body muscle dysmorphia, where no matter what they say, no matter what you tell them, you can't convince them that they're a muscular person. They still feel themselves as scrawny, still consider themselves, out of shape, fat, whatever it is. And just like a person, he said, he used the example of this guy named Tim, really muscular guy, had this disorder, and everything Tim was telling him reminded him of his anorexia, bulimia nervosa patients, except wasn't about being skinny. It was about putting on muscle. But everything else was basically the same. Um, obsessing over his diet to the point, like one example, he said he didn't go to one of his friends' weddings because he couldn't get the information about the exact macros, macro calories on
Oh
the
wow,
menu.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Would to the
man.
point again, would rather it's less painful for him to continue to working with a sprained wrist instead of taking a break. You know, the risk of him, losing muscle, the risk of him getting smaller or something like that was scarier than, pushing your body as it's hurting, missing
Mm.
these social events. And so it may be, and he gave the example too of, things that are pushed in the media and how we got this way and why it's, being pushed
Oh
to the
yeah,
forefront. And we're
I
talking to it like this, like, yo, man, even the dolls. He saw the side by side comparison, the original, like 1970s, Star Wars dolls with the modern day ones, and like you could tell, man, they look like those, all buffed up. Back in the day, they look regular guys. Now they're freaking bodybuilders, and it's just
for
normal
sure.
though.
The big part of it is just the media. Social media itself is like that. The moment we wake up, women are being bombarded with sexy
Mm-hmm.
bodies, with bikinis and big chest, big bottoms, all this and
Mm-hmm.
that. Men, we get bombarded with dudes in GQ suits,
Mm-hmm.
8 packs, everything, perfect chiseled jaw,
Jawline.
and having that nice 5 o'clock shadow with the crazy hair. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yo, like even myself, I find it like that too. Like, dude, when I was big into working out, I look up to people like The Rock. Like that
Mm-hmm.
dude was a beast.
Yeah, man, still is.
Be the hardest worker in the room, da
Mm-hmm.
da da, and all that stuff. And I followed that to the T, and you know, and it was just like, man. And no matter what, I saw my progress, yes, but I would never look like The Rock.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
no.
mean? So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it was for me. Like I had to accept the fact that it's they're different builds,
Mm-hmm.
different DNAs. We're not the same person, obviously. And then
Yeah.
like so you could get close to. You look at all the people that are in shape, bodybuilders and all that. All their bodies look similar, right? like it's that ideal V shape at the top, right?
Yeah, there's certain characteristics that are,
Yeah. So you
ideal.
see, and it's like, man, I wanted that, and I was close to getting it. I had shoulders, my arms were coming in, but my chest, I was never happy with it. It
Hmm.
like felt like it never grew, it never took shape, and that just stuck with me. And it was like it's
Hmm.
discouraging at times, but I didn't get to the point where it was like I need surgery to do
Hmm.
this and that. But I can understand how it can escalate to that part.
Hmm.
You know,
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Actually, I remember. You remember that show that used to have on MTV, True Life? I don't know if it still comes on, but True
through
Life.
life.
I'm
Oh
this,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah. And they had
yeah.
one where I have a obsession over my body or something like that, or I have an insecurity over my body. And there was one guy, and he was literally, he was an in shape dude working out and all that stuff. But he
Was that
said
the
his
calf guy?
the
His
calves, yeah.
calves.
I
Yep.
think you remember
Yeah,
too. Again, it
implant.
was the first time, yeah, the guy got calf implants. This was years ago, and I remember thinking to myself like, whoa, that's an example, because at the end of the day, like, we don't want to discourage people from wanting to look good. That's something that's unhealthy too, for us to be, guys to have to pretend like we don't want to look good, that we don't care how we look, want to be
we,
sexy,
we,
all that
we
stuff.
all want to
We
look good.
do, exactly. And guys, we have this pressure to feel like we, shouldn't be worried about that. That's a woman's thing. No, we have those insecurities. We have those desires too. And so that being said, is when you have BDD and you're taking it, you're trying to get all this muscle on and stuff like that. You're doing it to the point where it's unhealthy. Just like a woman, she'll do anything to get that, the perfect butt, the biggest boobs, all of this stuff. You start having surgeries. You start doing dangerous things. There's been a on the rise of steroid use. And when we think of steroid use, performing enhancing drugs, all this stuff, we're sports guys. We think of it as sports. We think, juicing baseball and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but only like 1 out of 10 of the people, and again, he was talking about in Australia, 1 out of 10 guys using steroids actually do any sports at all or any athletics. It's not for that. It's not a functional thing. Just like a woman with, continually getting, implants and implants and implants and got a chest so big, there's nothing functional about it, or a
Mm-hmm.
butt so big, or all this stuff. It's it's an unhealthy obsession. And
Yeah.
and again, it's something that should be taken seriously. And again, in the social media world, everything gets exploited, taken advantage on. You see on TikTok, hooked on the look. People having articles written about spending $1 million on plastic surgeries, all these things. There's some underlying issues and perhaps some diagnoses that need to be had,
Mm-hmm.
to really get people the help that they need. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because again, that stuff, obsessing over surgeries, obsessing over changing, your body, continually being unhappy. It's this continual message to yourself that you're not acceptable, that you're not good enough, you know. And unfortunately, 50% of the men diagnosed, with, that he was talking about with um, muscle dysmorphia, 50% had attempted suicide as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what, that's not too, surprising, because there's an unhappiness there, there's a discontentment and an obsession over that discontentment, and that leads to just a miserable life. And I think one of the things, I really like, what he said was, we need to start, thinking of it, you know, um, thinking of our bodies differently, thinking of, people and their bodies and their value that we attach to those bodies differently. You know, one thing I really do appreciate about, when I was in sports, I played football specifically. It's a specialist sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Basketball too. Not everybody's the same size. Not everybody, because we're all doing different things. And so,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a small, shorter, faster, twitchier guy like myself, I was a good, I played running back. So I could avoid hits. I was faster. If we had guys on the team that were way bigger, taller, they couldn't move as well, but they were real strong. Hey, offensive lineman, they block. We have a relationship. They block for me. I run behind them. Everybody's fine. We all value ourselves, our bodies, even though they're differently. And I'm glad I kind of got, kind of taught that. But it's something that, I think it's a message that we need to, put out there is, you know, it's function over form is better because to the degree that I was really thinking about the muscular dysmorphia. Nothing wrong with getting a gym membership, going out there, getting in shape, wanting to push it, push your limits, all of that good stuff, man. That's healthy things. However, you got to keep the main thing is the main thing, that you matter, that you don't want to hurt yourself in pursuit of looking better. you
Mm-hmm.
know, you don't want to, like, I'm in the gym nowadays, hey man, I'm in my 30s. So all of a sudden, hey, I'm just leg day. I'm doing a lot of up downs, whatever, squats, and the knees start really hurting, creaking. Hey, all right, we're done with that. No more squatting. If I'm,
Mm-hmm.
bam, got a twinge, bam, I have a, rotator cuff issue in my shoulder. My shoulder ain't feeling right, man. Oop, too much of a twinge, too far back. All right, we're done with that exercise. All right, modify.
Mm-hmm.
There's, but it's about, again, prioritizing myself. Working out for me is good because of my personality type, for my mental health, to be more aware of my body. As I'm paying attention to my body more, I'm able to pay attention to others. you know,
Kind of
it's
like
like it's like when I'm
if you
numbing
want to be
myself,
active,
I'm numbing myself to others as well.
it's like even if you want to be active, it's kind of like, well, why are you being active? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
if you're about our age, 36, 35 years old, what's really the point of me trying to max out on the bench?
There you go. That's a good.
I'm not a professional athlete. I'm not a
Mm-hmm.
professional bodybuilder. It's like, why am I? Yeah, to work out and stay fit, yes, but there's no need for me to push 315 pounds when I could just do a nice set of 150s.
Mm-hmm.
Less injury, less risk. I still get my pump. I still build my muscle. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if I was an athlete, then
Yeah.
yes, I need to
Yeah.
keep that size. I need to keep
Mm-hmm.
that strength up. It's like, why are
Mm-hmm.
you working out for it? Like, that's why you see, like, you don't see runners, long distance runners, looking like The Rock.
Yeah. The
You know what I
runners
mean?
don't look like the guy that runs the 5,000. Doesn't look like the guy that runs the
Yeah,
100. They don't. Their bodies are different. Same thing with the
like,
ladies too.
yeah, so it's like, why are you being active? Why do you want to work out? Finding the reasons and using your body to what it is that you want to do. If you sit in the office all day, that's your full time job, and you have kids and you want to work out, cool. Then just benching 135 pounds and squatting 200 pounds is good. You don't need to do 1,000 pounds. For
Mm-hmm.
what?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're training to be a boxer, yeah, then you might want to do more cardio, la da da da.
Mm-hmm.
But just work out for what it is that you want to do. And you don't have to be in the gym trying to compete with an actual bodybuilder when you're not.
Yeah. The
That's
guy
how you
that's the
get hurt.
personal trainer, where again, people that do that for a living. I think it's different. Same thing for if you're a woman, man, and your body is your living. You look good for a living. You're a model. You're a dancer. All right, that
Mhm.
comes with inherent pressure. Just like if you were an athlete, to come in shape. I did, again, last episode. I criticized a football player for coming into camp. They said he was like 30 pounds overweight. All right, if there's a professional attachment, there's a functionality there. You signed up for that stuff. You've agreed to that. But
Man,
if it,
another.
but and there's a point to it. There's an end to that. There's a goal to it, and having goals is healthy. That creates a sense of accomplishment, a sense of But when you don't have those things attached to it, then it's this never-ending pursuit. And then you start doing dangerous stuff again, taking steroids, having a whole bunch of surgeries. You know, yeah, just a terrible self-image of yourself. All that
Well,
stuff.
this is a little bit off topic, but
Okay, yeah,
I do miss going to the gym, man. Because
yeah, man.
the women I see at the gym, like
Hey, man, no, we were right on topic, actually.
they're
Yes.
the when I see women at the gym and they're working out and they're doing like the squat, the deadlifts, it's something about women working out, and it's a big motivation for me. Every guy
hmm
does this, damn well you
Yeah.
do. When the girl's next to you lifting weights, you're thinking to yourself, I could push out one more. She's definitely looking. I could do one more rep, la da da. But it's
Especially in them
like,
younger days.
yeah. So I love a woman that enjoys a good workout, that knows what she's
hmm
doing. Obviously, that's why you go to the gym.
Hey,
You
man,
go
I
to
think
the
it's
gym to
science,
look
man.
good,
I think it's science, man.
look good, feel
Being
good, man.
around good-looking people, beautiful women, stuff like that, it's actually healthy, for your brain. It promotes healing. I think
It
that's why,
boosts it.
they
It
have
boosts your
good-looking
self
nurses out there.
confidence.
There's people maybe think I'm joking, but there's some science with that actually.
Oh yeah,
No, yeah,
believe me,
yeah.
your mood gets a lot better. And I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like at the gym constantly staring. I'm there to work out, get my pump in,
Mm-hmm.
and get whatever. But if I'm in between sets, I'm just looking
But
around
the
like everyone
scenery,
does.
yeah, the scenery
Yeah,
is
I'm like,
always better.
I remember this girl came in. And girls, you know what you're doing wearing them tight yoga pants. It does not need to be hiked up that high.
Yoga flame.
But yeah, but she put on the racks like she knew what she was doing. She did a squat. I'm like, man, that's the same amount of weight I'm pushing. Like, yo, that's
Yeah,
what's up.
yo, that be the thing too. On that squat rack, a woman, yo,
Like they don't play,
they
man.
really
Like
be pushing, bro.
the women I see at the gym and the ones that go into the squat rack that do the deadlifts, the hip thrust, and the squats and all that stuff. Like you don't mess with those girls. They know what
Mm,
they're doing. They're mean businessmen right
admiration.
there.
Yeah.
I'm like,
No,
man.
you could
I'm like,
tell
that's what's
some of
up.
them ladies are functionally strong. I was like, okay, you do something. You as an athlete, you do. Some people
Yeah.
come in there, they look like they're just way real familiar with the gym. You're like, okay, they do something, man.
But
And
for
again,
me, I like that because it's like it
hmm
motivates me too. Like, man, look at her. She's pushing weight.
hmm
I gotta get back, and if I want to look like that, or even have a chance to approach a woman like that, I need to get on that level. So it's like
hmm
motivates me to be there to see live. Uh, I guess you say live motivation right in front of you in the area. Being in that, and
yeah,
just in general, just being around the gym where people are actually doing what they're doing and being
yeah,
supportive too.
going towards some
Yeah,
goals, man.
yeah, like
Some of those
working for
classes, even
something.
that's why there's group classes and stuff to keep you motivated.
Hmm. Dude,
Like
I especially get motivated when I see the people that you see at the gym and they be like, "Oh, why he here?" Like, dude, he's here to better themselves. That dude is shirt drenched. He's big as hell. He's like, but he's pushing
you're
through
putting
it.
it in. You see some
I'm like,
guys in there
yes.
putting it
I'm like,
in.
yeah, big man. I was like, it motivates me. I'm like, yo, that's what's up. I was there before. You can do it. Like it's motivating, man, to see people literally physically attempting to reach your goal. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and so that's what we want to end this stuff on a positive note and say, hey, we all looking good is important. Everybody wants to look good, but you look good so you can live a good live out here. You don't want to be obsessed anything physically that's gonna go away, that's gonna change. We're all gonna get old. This is prettiest we probably gonna be. You feel me? In these next after what is it 60 years old, once you get around retirement age, I've seen some good 60 year olds, but they look better when they was 30. Okay, that's just
Mm-hmm.
how it is. And so you got to have that perspective. Same thing with money. We can't take it with us, no matter how much we make, man. Once we're done with this earth, that stuff don't count. The Egyptians tried. So,
Mm-hmm.
we're doing this stuff so we can live a better life and a more full life. And we don't want to just be obsessed over it. Just like if we were just buying things to buy them, consuming to consume. All these things have, roots within our mind, something that's trying to fill a void that's not good enough. The pursuit, of something that at the end of the day is not healthy for us. It's not healthy for you to be so obsessed over your diet and literally scared to break it so that you miss a friend's wedding because you can't be sure what's on the menu. It should
Mm-hmm.
be for you to be isolated in your house for a month because you had an outbreak, a pimple or something like that. I told a story again, probably way back in the beginning of the show. I remember a guy in college flunked out of. I saw this man flunk out of college second semester of our freshman year because he was addicted to video games. He literally
Mm-hmm.
just didn't leave his room, played video games, playing World of Warcraft, I think it was. Started dropping classes. It's just like anything. It can be dangerous, whatever you obsess over it. We hear all the time about people dying from plastic surgeries, you know, um, dying from just overconsumption. So, um, again, always positive mental health. And you want to be going towards something. I want to leave on this. Nothing wrong. We want to improve on the flaws. We all got flaws and you all want to maximize what we're good at. But when it becomes an obsession, you can't appreciate the good things you're doing, the good things about you because you can't get over the flaw, that one little thing, and maybe that's another podcast for another day. The one little thing, danger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that you start to miss life. You'll miss out on living your actual life, trying to show up and be perfect for it, and never even show up at all. So Don't be like that. There
Right.
is therapy. There is help out there. You have reach out for help, man. This stuff is, don't want to use the word cure. I think that's not a healthy word to use in reference to this stuff. Your life can improve. You can always be better, and there are people out there that can help you be better. And science and technology and stuff is getting better at diagnosing it. Cognitive behavioral therapy, which is what I do, is what they recommend for these things like that. But medication as well. Talk to somebody. You know, um, the way you've been living doesn't have to be the way you continue to live. It can be better. So shout
My
out to
thing
the
is that,
BDD gang out there. Anybody suffering with it, hey, you're gonna be all right.
and before we get it off here, I'm just gonna say you're already perfect as it is. You're here in the first place already, ain't you?
Man, I feel like
Life
that
is
Christina
short.
Aguilera song need to play. You are beautiful, no matter what they say.
You know what I'm saying? Like, life is short.
Mm-hmm.
Sample that ish. Don't
Mm-hmm.
miss out because you mad.
Nope. Nope. No, absolutely. And speaking of that, let's close out on this, man. I'll get a little personal. This last, it's been hot this summer, man, everywhere. But they had a little break in the weather here in St. Louis. It was like in the 80s or low 80s this weekend. And so it was our child's first outing. Me and Bria took Isaiah out to the park. His first time really going outside like that. And it was great. Did the little stroller thing. Did all of that stuff. But just as you said, if you spend your life being mad, spend your life over things that aren't, how you thought they were going to be, things that ain't perfect, and this isn't going back and forth, and obsessing over things that really don't matter in the long run, you miss out on the big things, moments in life, like child's firsts and stuff that really does matter in life. So that's my personal testimony to what you just said. And I want to encourage everybody out there, don't sweat the small stuff. Like episode 31 just said, roll with the punches. Stuff ain't going to be perfect. You may miss some things, but you don't got to miss everything.
Yep.
So, yeah, I want to encourage everybody out there.
Well said.
For sure, for sure. So, you know what I need now, man. You know what I need from you.
Is there pretty much question of the day? All right.
Mental health break.
Let's see what we got today for you. If you could go back and talk to 15-year-old Eric, what would you
15.
tell him?
15-year-old Eric. I would tell him, yeah, bro, you're not going to be a pro football player. It's probably not going to happen. I know you had a pretty good freshman year in high school, but 15. No, I would tell him little advice that I just said earlier. Don't obsess over anything that you can't take with you. Those relationships and stuff like that, enjoy them. Live it up. Stay focused on school. I was a pretty good student, in high school, but I would tell myself, focus on the things that matter, which is your family, probably more than just, friends and relationships. I would definitely tell my, you know, uh, yeah, just value your family more. You're going to need them later more than you think. You're going to need them and appreciate them. Good old mom and dad more than you think. Because at 15, I definitely could not see that. I was definitely not appreciating, those moments as much as I could. It was all about what was it, man? Hanging out, football, track, friends, kicking it,
Yep.
and
A simple life.
simple life, man. No bills, no nothing, man. So, wish I'd spent just a little bit more time with the fam and showed a little more appreciation, back then, and not giving it all to a lot of people that I don't even know no more. Ain't in my life. Didn't really that we all do when we 15.
Very nice.
So. Yeah, man. What about you? 15, man. So, man, when I was 15, what was that? 2004? 2013? No, sorry, 2003, 2004, man. Wow. Man, we
Something like
old.
that. I know I was 18, 2004, graduation year for me.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm
So
06. So.
15, was that 2010? No, not 2010.
Nah, bro. It's more like
2000.
2001 for you, bro.
Yeah,
2000.
yeah, 2000.
Y2K, you tell yourself Y2K is going to be fine. You're all right. Don't freak out over that.
I was always a deep thinker.
Mm-hmm.
wise beyond my years, I guess you could say. I would have just told myself at 15, man, like, hey, I learned to let things go.
No holding grudges.
I learned to let things go. Because when I was 15, I was a super hothead. I was getting into fights whenever I can. I was disobeying coaches and everything because I felt like I was too good. I wasn't, I would talk back to my grandpa. All this and that. Like, no one could tell me nothing. And if I got mad, I'd act on it instead of taking a minute to think and then end up thinking later. And usually when I end up thinking about it later, it was just too late. Damage has already been done. I have to live with whatever consequences I faced. So I would, and hold on to heartbreaks longer than I should. That was not good for mental health. Girls are gonna do things that just at that age really don't care.
Man, I'm trying to tell you.
And nothing's changed with that. But I just had to learn to let things go. That's what I tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what it is, anger, madness, whatever it is, let it go.
Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it, like that bag lady, like don't be carrying all them bags like that, like Erykah Badu. Let it go, let it go.
Yeah, that's all I got this week, man.
Cool, man. Great, man. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for, another episode of Consider Your Mind podcast. We do appreciate y'all for stopping by and listening up. And we hope you got something out of this episode. I know we did. And until next week, peace.